How's it going? It's Jeff from Jeffrey-Thomas.com, and I'm going to go ahead and walk through my guitar tab arrangement for What I Got by Sublime. I'll take the intro, ending 1, then come back up and take ending 2 and go through the guitar solo. Make sure you're following the link in the description to the tablature on my website, and here we go. 2, 3, 4. Life is dun-na-na-na-na-na. Okay, so that's the tune. Don't know what to say. Killer song and perfect example of going back and forth from D to G. Okay, not a full D. It's not like you're going like, you know. So he's playing really choppy, varied licks between the D and the G. So this D is almost like a half G. You just have your first and your third finger down, and then the G is just to that. When I'm listening to the recording, there's lots of variations on that, you know, going back and forth. How he's arpeggiating those notes. So what I wrote in the tablature is just a good example of the main lick that he plays, but it is varied, so that's important for me to point out. The guitar solo is really cool, and it's basically centered around D minor pentatonic. Now, if you look at the worksheet, which is a free download on my website, we've got all 5 pentatonic patterns, and I'm going to go ahead and spend some time explaining those. So D minor is the pentatonic patterns that he's using, and the relative major for D minor is F. A little bit of theory there for you. So anyway, when you're walking through this first pentatonic pattern, you'll notice that I highlighted the F chord, which is what the pentatonic scale is built around, F major. And that's usually how I have my students practice the scales, is up and back. The next pattern is starting at the 3rd fret with finger 1. And then the chord shape that I picked for this is F over C. The next pentatonic pattern is at the 5th fret, built off of D minor over A. And it's okay, then the next pattern is at the 8th fret, kind of a goofy chord, F6 over C. And then here's your fingerings for the scale: 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4. And then the last pattern is up here at the 10th position, D minor, most common pentatonic pattern that everybody knows. 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. Now, why are the pentatonic patterns important? Well, duh. Just kidding. The pentatonic scales are 5-note scales, and there are 5 different patterns that cover the fretboard depending on what key you're in. This solo used in What I Got is based around D minor. There are some other notes that are, you know, following like a G chord, but the majority of it would be safe to use D minor pentatonic. So here's what I have my students do. You want to learn soloing, you want to start getting your own licks together, you make a rhythm track. Put down about 3 or 5 minutes of that chord progression, rewind it, and then start playing the pentatonic patterns over that chord progression. Make sense? That way you get to make all the mistakes in the world in your room instead of in front of your friends and, you know, or in front of girls, which is like a nightmare if you blow it in front of chicks. So that way you get a sense of running through the patterns, hitting the right notes, and over this chord progression, playing over that chord progression, D to G, D to G. There isn't a bad note in any one of these 5 pentatonic patterns that you can hit. So it's safe, and it's the best way to start learning how to solo, and this is a perfect tune for that. Like, this would turn into a huge jam tune if I was playing it with my friends. And hopefully you have a good singer to be able to nail it. But anyway, there's a lot more that I made this tune into by adding the pentatonics, and hopefully that wasn't too boring. If you're interested in going into this subject further, make sure to click any Schedule Now button on my website to send in your free Skype lesson requests. All right, thanks.